So now we're ready to look at solving quadratic equations using the square root property. The square root property, given a real number k, if x squared equals to k, then x equals the square root of k, or x equals to the negative square root of k. This may be written as x equals plus or minus square root of k. It is critical that the equation is solved for a perfect squared before applying the square root property. I guess we need to have a D there for solved. So, if I'm looking at example 1, the first thing I need to do here is to get the x squared by itself. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. That will give us x squared equals 4. And now I'm going to apply the square root property. Now I'm just going to abbreviate this as square root property. That's how I'm going to abbreviate that. So when we do that, that's going to give us x equals plus or minus the square root of 4. But of course, square root of 4 is 2. So that gives us plus or minus 2. So our solutions then would be negative 2 and 2. Let's try the next one, number 2. So we have to get x squared by itself. So I need to first subtract 125 from both sides. That gives us a negative 125. And then I need to divide both sides by 5. And now I'm going to apply the square root property. So when we do that, that gives us x equals plus or minus the square root of negative 25. Remember, when we have a negative underneath the square root, I need to get the negative out there, so we have to write this in terms of I. And of course, the square root of 25 is just 5. So my two answers here are going to be plus or minus 5i. So let's take a look at the next example. And here we notice this is already a perfect square. It's kind of a weird looking perfect square. But we can go ahead and we can immediately apply the square root property. That gives us x plus 7 equals plus or minus the square root of 8. And keep in mind the square root of 8, you can do this on your TI-30 XS calculator. If not, then you can do it by hand or show you the way I did the other video. That's equal to 4 times 2. Square root of 4 is 2. So that gives us x plus 7 equals plus or minus 2 square root of 2. Now I'm not done with this. I still need to get x by itself. So I do need to go in here and subtract 7 from both sides. Can't really combine that with the square root of 2, or sorry, with the 2 square root of 2. So that gives me x equals negative 7 plus or minus 2 square root of 2. So my two solutions here are negative 7 minus 2 square root of 2 and negative 7 plus 2 square root of 2. Let's try number 5. So here we want to go ahead and add 8 to both sides. I'm going to go ahead and write the step out here. That gives us 5x squared equals a negative 80. And then I need to divide both sides by 5. And that gives me x squared equals a negative 16. So we're going to apply the square root property. And that's going to give me x equals plus or minus square root of negative 16. Which again, with a negative underneath the root, I need to write that in terms of I. And then square root of 16 is 4. So this is just x equals plus or minus 4i. All right, let's try number 5. So again, here I can go and immediately use my square root property. This would be 3x plus 2 equals plus or minus square root of 12. Square root of 12 is plus or minus square root of 4 times 3. And square root of 4 would be 2. So this becomes plus or minus 2 square root of 3. Now I need to solve this. So I have to solve for x. So I'm going to need to next subtract 2 from both sides. And then I need to divide by 3. Now keep in mind what this represents. This represents two solutions. Negative 2 minus 2 square root of 3 over 3. And negative 2, let's put the comma up here, plus 2 square root of 3 over 3. Now, if they ever asked you to approximate this, sometimes they might ask you to give it your answer rounded to the say 3 decimal places. The way you would do this is, and on this calculator it's really nice, you can just literally type it in. Do your fraction key, negative 2, and I'm going to do the first one, minus 2, second, x squared key to get your square root, 3, down arrow 3. Now, when you hit enter on this calculator, it does something funny. It just kind of gives you the answer back in a funny form. But then next to that 3 key on your calculator, hit that double arrow key. So that would tell me that one of my approximations, and I'll just kind of write them here, if I round this, it'd be a negative 1.821. Now I'm going to cheat to get the second one. I don't want to retype all that. So I'm going to go here and highlight what I originally typed, hit enter, and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to change that subtraction to a plus. And then hit that double arrow key. So my other one would be, if we round that, approximately 0.488. I think most of the time in this section, Alex is going to want the exact answer, which is what we got circled up here in purple. Let's try this one. So here we're going to subtract 36 from both sides. We're going to apply the square root property. And now when we simplify that, well, we have a negative there, so we have to write that in terms of I. And then the square root of 36 is 6. So that's going to give us 5x minus 4 equals plus or minus 6i. Now I still need to solve this for x, so like before, I'm going to need to get rid of that 4 and then get rid of the 5. So I want to add 4 to both sides. And then I want to divide by 5. And so my two answers are 4 minus 6i over 5. And the second one is 4 plus 6i over 5. Let's do a few more additional exercises just to get the practice. So again, with the additional exercise, I kind of recommend you pause the video, try these problems out on your own. You got 3 problems to try, and you can do them one at a time, and then go back, hit play, so you can see how we work it out. So on number 1, we can easily apply the square root property. H would be plus or minus square root of 9. Square root of 9 is 3, so this gives me h is plus or minus 3. So my solutions are negative 3 and 3. For this next one, we need to solve for y, so I'm going to need to subtract 120 from both sides. That gives us 3y squared equals a negative 120. And then divide by 3. So that's y squared equals a negative 40. And now we're going to apply our square root property. So this would be y equals plus or minus square root of a negative 40. So we have to write that in terms of I. So write that as I square root of 40. If you look at 40, 40 is 4 times 10. We can take the square root of 4, that gives us 2. So our answers are plus or minus 2i square root of 10. Let's take a look at number 3. So the nice thing is I can apply the square root property. That gives me 2x plus 8 equals plus or minus the square root of 49. Now what's different about this one, we're actually able to simplify that to a real number. This is 2x plus 8 equals plus or minus 7. Now remember, that's really 2 equations. The first one is 2x plus 8 equals a negative 7. The second one is 2x plus 8 equals a positive 7. On both of them, we need to subtract 8 from both sides. So if I subtract 8 from both sides, it's going to be 2x equals a negative 15 here. If I subtract 8 from both sides on this one, this is going to be 2x equals a negative 1. And now to solve, just divide by 2. So I get negative 15 halves, and negative half is my answer. What this means is that when you get a problem and get an answer like this, it means that if we had multiplied this out and brought the 49 over, this problem would have been factorable. These other ones, when we have i's or square root of 10s like this one and this one, that means even if we tried foiling this out and bringing everything over, the equation would not be factorable. So now we're able to solve other types of equations that are not factorable. And we're going to take that to the next level in the next video.